Long haul flights can be brutal. Cramped seats, unpredictable food, jet lag. But after taking 40 long haul flights and more than 30 international flights in the last 20 months, we've learned how to make the journey more comfortable, if not more pleasant. If you've got a long haul flight coming up, you might be wondering, what should I wear? How do I actually get some sleep? What should I bring? What can I do for all that time? In this video, I'll share everything you need to survive a long haul flight. We'll cover what to wear, carry-on essentials, getting through security, food, and here's a big one, how to beat jet lag. It's a tried and true tested method. Whether this is your first long haul flight or your 50th, these tips will have you stepping off the plane, refreshed and ready to go. So are you ready to take off? Yeah, I said that, sorry. We're Mark and Kelly. We travel the world full time, sharing adventures and tips along the way. Join us for the journey and welcome to Grown Up Gap Years. The most important thing that you're going to need in your long haul survival guide is your trusty little passports. So, they're upside down. Trusty little passports. So make sure that you've got these with you when you go. The trick to keeping your passport safe is knowing where it is at all times. We usually keep our passport in this passport wallet. It's got room in it for the passports. We can also keep credit cards, money, a trusty pen because we need those. We also have an air tag in there so that we know where it is at all times, but honestly, it never leaves our side. So while the passports live in here, usually when we're actually in transit, the passports themselves live in my handbag, which never leaves my side or my sight. So they leave the passport wallet and then they get popped into a plastic Ziploc bag, which I then put inside a zippered part of my bag. So it's like 3 layers of security to get to our passports. And going through all that palaver reminds me of where it is. Our Australian passports are bit bendy at the moment, so once they've left the passport wallet, they really need to go into one of these to keep them away from the humidity and any dampness that's in the air, because they could end up really bendy at the rate they're going. One of these passports also has a blue dot on it. This is our way of colour coding our things when we travel. This blue dot means it's mine, so I can pull the passports out without having to open them and immediately have this one and pass the other one on to Mark. Hey, stick around, because behind my hands here, I have a secret weapon that might make your next long haul flight so much better. And it costs cents, mere cents, and it'll make a massive difference to your journey and the way you arrive at the end. What do you wear for your flight? This is what we wear on a plane. These are my trousers. They're made of that sort of stretchy stuff, but they look like trousers, not leggings. These are a brand called CRZ Yoga that you can get off Amazon. They are brilliant. I also wear a t-shirt in a dark colour. These are black. I usually wear a black t-shirt. And I also have a hoodie, which I will show you. It's merino wool. It's great. It zips up. It's got some pockets in it. Fabulous. I also wear socks and I wear sand shoes. I call them sand shoes, you may call them sneakers, and I can pretty well take my feet in and out of them without having to do the shoe. I don't have room for multiple outfits, so anything I wear on the plane has to serve me in everyday life as well. Now, Mark wears chinos. They're sort of jogger type chinos, and he wears these so he doesn't have to wear a belt. Belts drive him insane as he goes through security. So the chinos have served the purpose. He still looks respectable. He wears a t-shirt as well, and he likes to wear his puffy coat. It's got deep pockets so he can pop his glasses in the side and things like that. He doesn't usually put that on till he gets on the plane, but that's his ideal plane outfit. Just a word of advice. Do not believe anybody who tells you that their ideal plane outfit is a jumpsuit. You are in a little tiny toilet on an airplane. Getting in and out of a jumpsuit is difficult. Your ideal airplane outfit is not a long maxi dress or long sweeping palazzo pants. I'm sorry to keep going back to the toilet, but they are messy places, and you do not want the hem of your long flowy dress or skirt or pants going in any of the liquid or moisture that is on the floor. You don't want that. Can't believe how much talking about the toilet I'm doing, but it really is not the most pleasant place on an airplane. Just a quick question, and if you wouldn't mind giving us your answer in the comments below, we'd be really grateful. What do you consider a long-haul flight? We consider a long-haul flight anything over probably 8 hours. It takes us almost 4 hours just to fly out of our own country. But we've spoken to people from other countries who say 3 hours is a long-haul flight, 4 hours is a long-haul flight. What's your definition of a long-haul flight? And when do you need to go into survival guide mode? Have your boarding pass or your e-pass. If you're checking luggage in, it's checked in. Now for everybody's favourite part of the airport, the security. This is, no sugarcoating it, a really harrowing time. And it's best for you to be organised and know all the tricks. There is a lot of shouting in some countries. There are a lot of people getting very confused, and there's a lot of hurry but not much action. And oftentimes there's no signs to tell you what you even need to do. Put forward your liquids. This is ours, every bottle under 100 millilitres. We find this, if you need to go look up what these rules are, 100 millilitres is about 3 ounces. They all need to fit in one bag. You get one bag per person. You will also be asked to scan your electronics, and you'll have to take them out of your bag in most cases. So this includes your Kindle, your computer, countries even your power banks. Some countries even have limits on your power banks and the voltage or wattage that they can be, and it's up to you to check that out before you fly. Can I just point out these little stickers on my laptop? I'm not trying to be cute. I had a terrifying situation when I first got this laptop. I put it through security, and it turned out the next 2 people behind me also had this exact same MacBook, and they all looked the same. And we were all looking at one another, looking at our MacBooks, trying to figure out who owned what. So I ended up putting these stickers on, like there's a couple of cute dogs. I think I got them from a food shop in Vietnam and just stuck them on so that I could remember which laptop was mine. The other thing is that electronics will generally need to be charged so that if they ask to see inside them, they can test that they are what they say they are. So make sure that you don't go on with dead electronics. If your phone is an exception, you don't need to put that through separately. It can just usually be in your bag or whatever it is that you happen to be traveling with. But at the end of the line, make sure that you've got everything. Don't be flustered. Double check you've got everything before you go running off. Pro tip, do not put your passport on that tray as it is. Put it in your bag, in the spot in your bag where you always put your passports. I have seen so many passports be left behind with the security people bellowing out people's names whilst holding their passports. You don't want that to happen to you, losing a passport. That's actually more stressful than a security line. This is the water bottle that I bring on board a flight. Not this particular one, it can be any variety of water bottle, but basically it's a water bottle that can be thrown out, lost, tossed without any drama. I usually bring it to the airport empty because I can't take it through security with any water in it. I can fill it up if I need to. But what I have found is that sometimes water is confiscated. Now I need to be clear on this. You have cleared security, you have accessed the water or bought water at the airport in a secure space. You go to board your flight and then there's an added layer of security. Now I don't know if this happens to other countries, but it does happen to Australians. So maybe you're flying home from Bali or the Middle East. You will go through a second checkpoint and you will lose your water at that checkpoint. So if I lose that, I don't care. If I lose my very fancy water bottle, I will probably be upset. If you're taking a long flight, I think it could be worth your while to actually select your seats ahead of time. Now, airlines are charging people quite a lot of money to do this. So you have to figure out what you're prepared to pay for the privilege of having a small amount of comfort that you may not get otherwise. So, 2 sites you can go to. One is called FlightAware and the other one is called Seat Guru, and they give you the ins and outs of seats. I've actually sat in a seat once that I thought was going to be a good seat. I hadn't checked beforehand and found the entertainment system was actually in the space where my feet would normally go. And yeah, it wasn't a fun flight because you don't have much room to start off with, and then to lose it to an entertainment system is a bit annoying. So it is worthwhile checking. Now, Mark and I travelled together. I have travelled on my own, he has travelled on his own, so it's different for solo travellers. So we're just speaking about our experience as couple. So I've drawn a beautiful map for you here to show you. This is not to scale and nothing like an airline normally looks like, but most international flights that we take, and probably many of you, run off the 3-4-3 configuration. Now I'm talking about economy, which is where we spend most of our time. The toilets are usually in the middle, at the back, whatever. Try not to sit near the toilets. The toilets can be quite busy for obvious reasons, because you've got 200 people trying to use a limited amount of toilets. So what we have found is we like to do a couple of things. Sometimes you're lucky enough, and these are usually older planes, where you have, in some instances, just 2 seats by themselves. These are gold. These are fantastic. If you see those, grab those. They're hard to get though. The exit rows are also gold, but you usually have to pay more for those. And then there's a whole lot of responsibilities that come with sitting in those seats, so it's up to you. Unfortunately, these guys don't get the exit row seat because they're not actually on an exit row. The other option is that 2 of you take that middle row, 2 together there, and that way you're only disturbing each other to get out, go to the toilet, do what it, move around the aircraft, do what it is you need to do. You could also try this sneaky little one that we have done in the past, where we have booked this seat and hoped that no one would take that middle seat. Look, we've done that a couple of times and it's worked out really well for us. We've had the 3 seats between us. But I like to call it the don't be a dreadful person rule. If for some reason somebody is put in that middle seat, I think it's beholden on you to offer to swap with them if you plan on talking and communicating and having a lot to do with one another on the flight, because it is not pleasant for that person sitting in the middle. We figure it's a no-lose situation for that person in the middle, because we would either offer that person our window seat or our aisle seat so that we could be together, because we have figured out that 2 of us in 2 seats is slightly more room than 1 of us in 1 seat separated by another person and then 1 of us in the other seat. This is the backpack that I travel with. It's a brand called Eco Hub. It can fit under the seat. It seems to fit most European airlines. We have to be careful with a lot of the airlines that we travel with because they are actually weight restricted. I know that's not the case for every airline all over the world, but most of the ones that we travel are weight restricted, so we do not overpack these. Here is where I keep my flight essentials, so I can get them straight out of the bag before I put the backpack away. This is the one that I've put through security already, and this is another bag that is full of very useful things for me to use on the flight. So I take those 2 out of the bag, zip it up. My laptop fits in here. When we store our backpacks, if we are storing them in the overhead bin, we always turn it so that the zippered parts are on the inside, facing away from the opening of the overhead bin. This just makes it a little bit trickier for people who want to access your backpack who shouldn't be accessing your bag during the flight. There have been reported cases of carry-on luggage being broken into, so be very careful about the things that you store in the overhead bin that are out of your sight. If you are traveling solo, make sure that you've either got a bum bag or a sling bag, a crossbody bag that you take with you at all times that has your money and your passport in there. Just because you're on a plane doesn't mean that all people behave as honourably as they should. The other thing that we always make sure that we have is a change of clothes. This is handy if your luggage is misplaced on the other end of the journey, and it's also important if something happens to you during the flight. You've got into your carefully chosen seat and you sit down and you realise very quickly that you have got a lot of time to spend in this very small space. So these are the things that I suggest you do to make your life much, much easier. This is my secret little plane bag. And this is the bag we talked about earlier, and it's got things in it that you will need. You will need, I'm going to just open this up and show you what I have got in there. You will need hand sanitizer. This is your greatest friend. You will need one of these. This is one of those squirty up the nose things that keeps your nasal passages moist, and moist nasal passages apparently lead to less infections. I don't know if that's true. This is one of those sprays that you spray on yourself, keep you hydrated. I don't know what it does, but I have a small one of those, so I always carry it with me. A lip balm to keep your lips nice and refreshed. We have eye drops because we both get very dry, sore eyes on the plane. This is something that I got in Turkey, but I think you can get it anywhere. It's a vitamin C with a 50+ sunscreen in it. I don't know why, but unless I have a sunscreen on a plane, I end up with like a bright red hot face, and this sort of seems to keep my face nice and calm. So if you're one of those people like me who end up like that, this might work for you. And apparently there are quite a few UV rays floating around in the aeroplane because you're up close to the sun, I guess. And the other thing that we have is toothpaste, because we will clean our teeth at some stage on the flight. Some bigger airlines will have toothbrushes and amenities in the bathrooms. Sometimes you'll get an amenities kit, the poor man economy amenities kit. Sometimes there'll be toothbrushes in there, but I always carry a couple for us so that we can at least clean our teeth when we arrive somewhere, if not during the flight. This will be your best friend on the plane. You need to use it before eating, before putting anything near your mouth, and you must use it when you use the toilets, even if you have washed your hands really well while using the toilet, because I don't know if you can do it, but there is no way in the world you can open that door without touching something. So I personally wash my hands really well in the toilet and dry them. With one finger, open the door, inch out, and then run back to my seat and put hand sanitizer all over them. So this is the thing that I have put together that actually makes my life incredibly easy. So it's quite narrow. It fits easily in a seat pocket. Nothing gets left behind. And I'll show you what I've got in there. It fits my Kindle. I switch between watching movies and reading my Kindle. It's got my headphones in there. Now, I have a real problem, and that problem is I must have weird ears because I cannot keep these things in. I just cannot keep them in. So to save scrabbling around the floor trying to find these, this is what we have come up with. It's a little bit of string that you can either wear on the front or you can wrap around the back, and then you can loop your earphones together. And no matter how often they try and fall out of my ears, I at least know where they are because they're around my neck. This has been life-changing. If you want to use Bluetooth headphones, you're going to need a Bluetooth device to plug into the airplane entertainment system so that you can access it. This is a knee Bluetooth device, so it just simply plugs into where your headphones would normally go, and then it is connected to the Bluetooth on your headphones. This one here, actually this one here has got a blue dot on it. So blue dots, as I've pointed out with the passport, means it belongs to me, and my blue dot headphones are connected, so we don't have to muck around figuring out who owns what device as we try and Bluetooth our devices together. We also carry cords to charge things that can plug into one of the power banks that we have with us. The USBs on the plane are unbelievably slow. They're so slow. So maybe this might be an option. The Bluetooth device can run out of steam after about 7 to 8 hours of continuous use. So you might need to top it up through the flight, and definitely on one of the layovers. If your flight's taking 24 hours, you will need to top it up maybe 2 times. A pro tip, always make sure that you've got a charging cord. Now, I don't travel with individual cords and adapters and things for all of my electronics. I just have too much stuff. So we just have one of these universal adapter things that works everywhere except Australia. We use these cords. Don't ever put your cord into one of those USB outlets at the airport. It's a way of easily getting malware onto your phone or computer or whatever you happen to be charging. So don't go naked with your charging. Make sure you use one of these. We also have wipes for wiping our hands and also wiping over the tray table, and sometimes the seat mightn't be particularly nice. You might need to give that a wipe. Always have tissues with you. Charcoal is also a great thing to carry with you. There is something about when you eat on an aeroplane that makes the gases in your stomach expand, and the expanding gas has to go somewhere, so we'll help you with that if you're prone to that. And sometimes if there is somebody who needs one, you could consider passing one over to them to see if that would help make your flight a little bit more comfortable, and if you know, you know. It's always a great idea to have paracetamol for those unexpected headaches. Lip balm, because your lips will dry out on the plane. And the other thing that we carry is one of these sniffy things. You get them in Thailand. They're wonderful. I get motion sickness, and these are marvellous for that. And they're also great for disguising smells around you, as previously discussed. This is the eye mask that we use for sleeping, not just for airplanes. So even though it's a little bulkier than some eye masks, it's actually worth it for us because it's got this scooped out bit here. It doesn't touch your eyelashes or your eyes, and weirdly it just seems to let you get to sleep more quickly and easily. And it's total blackout. You can see nothing. I know you can get something very similar off Amazon. We bought these off Lazada in Vietnam, and they honestly cost us like $2. Best investment ever. So invest in one of these. If you have to pay a little bit more, I think it's well worth it, particularly if it's not just a travel thing, but it's something that you can use all the time. Okay, this is my secret strategy for how to get to sleep on a plane. All right, so you get your earbuds, you pop them in. You make sure noise cancelling's on. You zip up your jacket. And this is why you should always wear a hoodie. You zipped up. You get your eye mask. Now I'm going to trust that I'm doing this properly. Oh, see, this is why I need this thing. I cannot keep these in my ears. I do not know what's wrong with me. Must have misshapen ears or something. All right, so you put your eye mask on. Then you put your hood over the top and pull it down as far as you can. And then you go to sleep. That is my secret strategy for sleeping on a plane. But where's my neck pillow? We don't carry neck pillows. We travel full time. Neck pillows are not worth bang for buck. It's a bit like these. You're like, Kelly, just go and get yourself a set of over-the-ear headphones and they won't fall out. I can't justify the room they take up in our luggage. So 24 hours of putting up with a reasonable amount of discomfort is not worth the carrying around of the neck pillows and the over-ear headphones and the extra palaver that I don't need. I can usually use the airline pillow, settle in as best I can, and I'm usually okay. Even though I've just shown you how you can easily get to sleep, or how I sometimes easily get to sleep, don't get bent out of shape about the sleep. I think the more pressure you put on yourself to get to sleep, the harder it is. So maybe it's just one of those resting situations where you just close your eyes and just rest for a little while. Maybe you read, maybe you just binge movies for the entire journey. But I think the best option is not to get bent out of shape about the sleep, because that's an added stressor that you don't really need. Doesn't make me less jealous of the people who are sound asleep the minute they get on a flight and sleep the entire flight and then wake up and go, we're here. I'm really jealous of those people. I wish I was that person. I've brought my offsider. He's got something very valuable to contribute to this comfort for long haul flying.
Just bringing something to the table here. Okay, these slippers you get in hotel rooms. I've started collecting them, and they're great for a long haul flight, because as soon as you get on the plane you want to take your shoes off, pop these on, walk around the plane, do what you have to do, and at the end of the flight, when the flight attendants do come around with the rubbish, whack them in there, never seen again.
And if you've got 2 legs of your long haul flight, then we would need 4 pairs of slippers.
4 pairs.
He's collected that many. Just something to bear in mind, don't walk around the aircraft barefoot or in your socks, particularly if you're going to the toilet. It's incredibly unhygienic, and the floor in those toilets after a while, I don't even want to think about what's in them.
Not everyone's got good aim. If you're really liking this video, give us a thumbs up if you're finding any of this information helpful.
One thing that we haven't mentioned in our survival kit is compression socks. We personally don't use compression socks, and it's not for any other reason other than we just have never got around to buying some. We did have some when we used to fly more intermittently for holidays before we started this long-term travel, and we always forgot to put them on. And trying to put compression socks on in a little tiny air seat is really difficult. So we sort of fell out of the habit of using them. They are an important thing to have, and if they suit you, I strongly suggest you add it to your kit. They compress your legs and help prevent blood clots from forming, and that's a real danger when you are doing very long haul flights. So compression socks might be something you want to include, and it's something that we're considering adding to our kit later on. I'm a bit of an odd person in that I actually quite enjoy the airplane experience. Even when I'm squished in an economy for 24 hours, I generally eat all the food, drink all the drink, and watch all the movies. I have a lovely time on the plane. However, I understand for some people that food can be an issue. So airplanes cater for people with special diets. You can pre-order your meals, and there is a time frame. You'll need to check with your airline and see what that time frame is, where you can order special meals like vegetarian meals or kosher meals or halal meals or whatever it is that you're after. Some people like these because, you know, a vegetarian meal can be a lighter option even if you are a meat eater. And the other thing is that they won't run out of the chicken if the chicken's what you are after, and they'll only have the beef left if you're at the back of the plane. The other upshot of ordering a special diet meal is that you are usually served first before the main meals come out. But even though Mark and I are not particularly fussy about what we eat, we do try and eat food as close to food as we would normally eat. We do not think an airplane is the place to try out something really new and exotic, and we avoid the seafood. We just make it a rule to avoid the seafood, but that's just something we do. You may like to eat the seafood. We're also a little bit fussy about the salads. You know, they bring those funny little salad bowls out, and sometimes they're just a little bit grim looking with their one sad piece of shriveled lettuce. We don't eat those. Salads are a minefield. Consumption of alcohol is completely a personal choice. The experts say do not drink alcohol on a plane. It will dehydrate you and make you feel terrible. I do drink alcohol on the plane. I'm having wine with my dinner. For some people, consuming alcohol on a plane can really escalate feelings, and there have been many alcohol-fueled incidents that have happened on planes in recent times. But if you are flying a budget airline, and by a budget airline I mean something like Ryanair in Europe or Air Asia or Pegasus or an airline like that, you generally do not get food included. You can pre-order and pay for a meal before the flight, but generally speaking you will pay for your food, you will pay for your water. Big international airlines like Singapore and Emirates and Qantas, etc., you will get your drinks and food included, but you're paying considerably more for a ticket. So just because you're on an international flight, don't assume that you're going to be fed. You need to check that out. Now, should you bring snacks on your long haul flight? Again, completely up to you, but we always like to bring some protein bars, and it's not that I'm worried that we're not going to be fed on the plane, particularly if food is an inclusion as part of your ticket. It's more the fact that sometimes things can go wrong. Flights can sit on a runway sometimes for 2 hours or for various reasons. and we like to have something like a protein bar just to tide us over in case something like that happens. We hope that you're finding these tips useful and that as you're planning your next long haul flight, that ideas are ticking over into your head how you can make your journey much more comfortable. If you're enjoying this content, we'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to our channel. We've got lots more tips and tricks to share with you as we travel around the world. So, what are you going to do for the next 24 hours? My suggestion is the in-flight entertainment. Get straight into that. However, many people like to bring their own entertainment downloaded on their phones or their computers or their iPads. I like to read my Kindle. It's lightweight, it's easy to pack, and there's always plenty of options for books. When I'm bored with one, I can flick to another. Some people like to bring puzzle books and paper games and things that they can do. We just tend not to bring something like that because it is a little bit difficult weight-wise. And also we find it really difficult to find anything like that written in English. But you may find, for you, leaving from your home country, that that's something you might like to take. It is imperative on a long-haul flight that you do get some sort of exercise, and that you do use the toilet, etc. when you need to. Do not be afraid to ask people to move. You must actually take care of your health. So what I like to do is to do, the wrist turns, and I wriggle my ankles and do circles, and I jiggle my legs up and down. I must be annoying to sit beside sometimes. I'll get up and have a walk up and down the aisle. If I'm going to the toilet, I might walk up and then back and then come and sit down. I don't walk around excessively. There are areas on the plane where lots of people like to hang out and do a lot of exercises. I live in mortal fear of the clear turbulence, so I like to be in my seat securely fastened in with my seatbelt. When you are sleeping or sitting, make sure that your seatbelt is visible over your clothes so that the flight attendants can see that you are strapped in. Plane etiquette. You are on a plane, essentially a giant toothpaste tube in the sky. It's the best place to exercise kindness and tolerance. Small things can blow out of proportion in a situation like that. So it's best to just rein yourself in, and my motto is, you will literally have no control over anything that's going on except your reaction to it. So exercise your own self-control to make your flight a more pleasant experience. Sit where you're assigned. Be polite to the flight attendants. They're doing their best to make sure you have a pleasant journey. There's always going to be the recline, not recline argument. The seats recline. I never know what to do. I'm going to be really honest. I feel really bad when the person in front of me is reclined on top of me. I don't know whether to recline on the person behind me. So generally what I do is when I go to the toilet, I check out who's reclined, and if the person behind me is reclined, well, all bets are off, I'm reclining on them too. However, when mealtime comes, you are required to put your seats upright so that people can enjoy their meals. And you are required to leave those seats upright till the meal trays have been removed. This is Mark's and my time-tested way of avoiding jet lag. We have to travel at least 24 hours to get from Australia to Europe. We go through multiple time zones. We refuse to acknowledge that it exists. We do the following. Firstly, the plane tries really hard to get you into the time zone of wherever you're going. This is problematic if there's a layover, but basically go with what the plane is doing. When you arrive, do not go to sleep unless it is bedtime. If it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you get yourself outside, you go and start partaking in the city, you must stay awake. Go to sleep at your normal bedtime, take a sleeping pill or half a sleeping pill if you need to, then sleep normally, rising at your normal bedtime, and get out into the light again. Have an easy day, take a nice quiet day of sightseeing, do not sleep. The next night, repeat it again, go to sleep at your normal bedtime, wake up at your normal time, take your sleeping pill if you need to, you'll be fine. At the beginning of the video, finally going to reveal our top secret weapon that we use to get around the world in the best possible state, and that is an electrolyte powder. These things are fantastic. Now, this one is actually from Thailand. We find them pretty well anywhere we go in the world. We stock up on them and we have 2, 3, or maybe 4 per flight. You can get them in long cylinders. You just pop them into your water bottle, each little tablet or each powder like this, and you're set to go. I don't know what it is, but it just seems to revitalize everything, give your cells a great big drink, and you feel fantastic. Make sure you include this in your carry-on survival kit for long-haul flights.